Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. He's talking to today's industry leaders and entrepreneurs about the people side of their business.
Welcome to the Best Team Wins podcast, where we feature entrepreneurs and business leaders whose exceptional approach to the people side of their business has led to incredible results. My name is Adam Robinson, and for the next 25 minutes, I'll be your host as we explore how to build your business through better hiring. Today, Dan Bocik is the founder and owner of Tavola, a restaurant located in Chicago, Illinois. Dan has 10 employees. He's been in business since 1995, and as we were talking before we started rolling here, just profiled on a pretty well-known restaurant review show on WGN here in Chicago. Very, very cool. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you.
So the best learning happens through real experiences shared by fellow entrepreneurs. So Dan, we're excited to learn from you today. Thanks for being here.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So we are going to talk about the people side of your business, but before we dive in, set the stage for us. Tell us about Tavola and what you're up to.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Adam. Tavola, the name means to the table, and I named a restaurant that I founded in 1995 To the Table because that's what it's really all about. It's all about the food and where we recreate authentic Italian dishes on a nightly basis. And I thought that it's listed alphabetically first. Couldn't hurt either.
Right. Yeah. It's a Tavola with 4 A's.
Yeah.
Right next to
A,
quadruple A exterminator. Yeah. So you're trained to do this. You visited Italy.
I'm a chef. I was a chef of an Italian restaurant in Italy.
Yeah, very cool. So Dan knows his stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're in Chicago and want a place to eat, Tavola is an exceptional place, and we've had a couple of leadership team dinners there for our company, and it's been. I think we drank all your wine. We had a good time. Okay, if listeners want to learn more or schedule a reservation when they're in town, what's the best way for them to do that?
Tavola.chicago.com, or my personal to see what I'm up to and track all the goings on is danbocik.com.
Bocik.
Bocik.
Very cool. All right, let's talk about people, Dan.
Yes.
1995, you're getting started. Trained chef, have worked in a restaurant. Now, of course, you're in business for yourself. Things are a little different. Talk to us about that first team.
The first team. Well, the reason I started my restaurant was I kept getting fired from all my other jobs.
Okay.
So I wanted to be gainfully employed. That's all I want to do is just have a job more than a year that I can keep and get a steady paycheck. And I got tired of complaining about all my bosses.
That will get you fired.
That will get you fired.
Yeah.
And it has.
Yeah.
So I just decided to launch out and just start it myself. I didn't have a name. I didn't have a menu. I didn't have a concept. I just I'm going to start a restaurant and learn as I go. So I learned very fast that I need some employees. I need some help. I can't do everything. My first employee, once I finally got up, was a guy named Lou. He was 16. He was the son of the building owner that I rented the space from.
Different location than it is today?
It was 26 feet away. It was next door.
Okay, all right.
Next door.
Yeah.
So Lou was 16, and he kept showing up for work, so hired. That was it.
Yeah, right.
That was it. That was the only qualification I had, was somebody that could show up and do some things I told him to do.
So other than following orders and showing up, what were the things that Lou did that helped keep you going in those early days?
Yes. So I was, he helped me unload the van to bring ingredients into prep in the kitchen. He helped clean the dining room. And when we eventually had a guest after a couple of weeks or months, he talked to them and gave them plates of food from the kitchen.
Yeah, great.
That was it.
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. So take us through then that first guest through to when you knew, wow, okay, this is working.
Yes. I knew it was working. We came out about 3 months or 4 months of sitting basically alone on weekends in my restaurant, where I thought people would just be flocking to me because I'm me.
Right.
I make good food or something.
Right.
we got noticed. We came out in the best new restaurant issue of 1995 of Chicago Magazine.
Wow, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So I went from our biggest day was 14 people on a Saturday night to coming out in the best new restaurant. And that day, they gave me 2 weeks notice. And still our largest day in business was that first weekend. We did 111 people.
Wow.
So I had to hire a staff.
Sure.
So I didn't have the money. I didn't know how to hire. So I had to put together some extra people in the kitchen and extra people in the dining room and train them and time it perfectly so that by the time they were trained, they would serve the guests and the guests would think that we'd been working together for a year or two. And then I had the money to pay them.
Right.
So it worked out.
Okay. Yeah, clearly it worked out. So what did you do to staff a restaurant in a week? How did you do that? Back in 1995, there was no Craigslist, there's no job boards, or there was no SaaS, there was no cloud. This was
cell phones.
No cell phones. Exactly right. We all had Nokias, if that, back then, and that was it. What did you do then? Help wanted on the door?
What did I do? I think I went around to anybody I knew and asked for help.
Just
asked for
anyone
help.
wanted to pick up a shift and learn how to,
other restaurant owners or something like that. I really don't even remember. It was just kind of a blur.
So here we are 23 years later.
23.
Congratulations. That's a long time in any business.
So like a restaurant year is like a dog year. What is it, 9 to 1?
Yeah, man. Congratulations. So talk to us about how do you run it now? And you're, of course, doing more than just tavola. You're developing a menu profitability app and some other pretty interesting things based on your experience. Tell us about the team you have now.
Yes. The seminal moment was, I made hiring mistakes for 19 years. That's just the honest truth. I didn't know how to hire. I thought I'll hire people like me or people I like or people that have experience. And that's absolutely not the right way to go. So I was sitting in a cabana with Todd Smart in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
And
Todd Smart is a business coach and EOS implementer whom we both know.
Yes, and I heard Todd 3 or 4 times. We were going through the EOS VTO, and I heard hire for values, train for skill, and I immediately came back and wrote a job description that didn't list anything that the person was going to be doing. It was just values, my values, the company's values. And I found the best employee I've ever had.
No kidding.
Carla.
Okay.
And Carla was the best employee I ever had. So from that second, it was hire for values, train for skill.
What were the values that you shared on that job description?
Yes, someone that likes people. I'm in the hospitality business.
Sure.
Surprisingly, you have to like people. You have to want to serve people because we all serve people in some form or another. We also go to the source of knowledge. It's nothing we learned hypothetically or we read in a book. We actually go to foreign countries to learn to cook, or we spend our time growing up doing this, and it comes to find out that we love doing it. So going to the source is really it, and over communicating to the guests, I think, is really one of the things as well. So many times we are afraid of speaking to the guests.
Sure.
But it's really just a conversation. Asking people how they are and asking them how can we solve their problems.
That's great. So talk about going to the source. What does that mean? Are you flying people to Italy to learn to cook?
No. What I mean, I flew to Italy to learn to cook. I lived there a year and a half. I got a one-way ticket, and I dropped in, and I knew how to say spaghetti, and that was it. I didn't know anybody, and I did that. But when I say we go to the source, it's a way of life for people. It's really someone's core passion of what they're doing. So
firsthand knowledge of.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Someone that, because for me, I do about 1 or 2 things really well. And when I start doing 3, 4, 10 things, that's where it goes off the rails for me. So the real first question is, what are we passionate about? I happen to be passionate about, cooking for people and making them happy, just like my grandmother did when I was 5 years old at her kitchen table.
Very cool. So the team. So then, based on those values, it sounds like beginning with that moment where this epiphany of I'm going to hire based on values, and you get a Carla. So then that was 19 years in. So here you've been for the last 4 years.
4 years almost.
4 years, hiring for value, training for skill, as
Yes.
you say. What has been the impact? Tell me how that's impacted your ability to operate profitably.
I'm a lot happier.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm much happier, and everybody around me is happier because they're in the right place. I'm not trying to put a square peg in a round hole, or a term that I learned, make a hunter out of a farmer or a farmer out of a hunter. Where I'm asking the questions to find out who they are and what they want. Because if they don't get what I'm doing, if they don't want what I'm doing, and if they don't know the capacity to do it, it's just not going to work. So, I relate it to dating.
Yep.
If I have to talk somebody into marrying me, it's probably not going to work, right?
Yep. Typically, that does not turn out well. Well, what do you think then is the most important leadership quality you bring to the table? I mean, knowing what you know about yourself and what you're good at and not good at, what do you bring that helps you build your best team?
The leader. Well, you mentioned the word leadership. It's that I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I mean, I at the heart of it, I'm a blue collar worker. I know how to do construction. I'm the best dishwasher in the world. I'm the best floor sweeper, floor mopper, painter, touch up. I can do all those things. People don't believe it until I have to show them. But I find that when I actually show people how to do their job and do that alongside with them and show them the pride that comes in from doing what people perceive as the most mundane task, that's really the highest level of service that we can do to people. And if we're not in the if we're not in the service business, then we should find something else where we don't have to deal with people.
Right.
But when I work with somebody, that's really all I want. So I'll give you an example.
Sure.
My chef right now, he was a bad dishwasher. He was the kind of guy that I sent home. It's like, okay, there's no customers, go home at 7:30 or 8. So after 2-3 years, he was a dishwasher. My kitchen changed. The guy that I had at the time was going to fire the guy. He doesn't know anything. I spent 15 minutes with the guy teaching him how to grill a steak. I sat with him. I looked at it. We talked one-on-one, personal, mindful, present. The guy will cook circles around me today. And that came from 15 minutes of just sitting and talking to him because he didn't know and I know. So that's my example of leadership.
Amazing. All right. So learn by doing.
Alongside with somebody.
Yeah.
Because just like my, you have a child, I have a child. What do they really want? They want someone to sit and draw on a piece of paper with them, sit and pull bugs out of the carpet. To be present with somebody, that connection is really what we want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it pays off in spades in business because, I couldn't keep finding another guy year after year of a turnover like that.
Do you find that your retention rates are higher than either restaurateurs or what your results used to be based, when you made this transition to values-based hiring and spending, like you said, that very present, intentional time with people?
Yeah, absolutely, because they're in the right place, and I'm in the right place with them. They're the right person for the right job at the right time, and at the end of the day, I don't think it's really the job that they really love. I mean, they do love this, but it's for some people, it's a job. It's it's a place to go make money, and they don't have to be as passionate about it as I am. But they feel heard,
mm-hmm.
and I set them up to be successful. So that's my job as a leader, to find out what the boundaries of their job and their tasks are, and show them the edge like a dog in a yard.
Yep.
Here's the fence. You don't need to go beyond that, but here's where we're working, and here's how to do it, and we'll demonstrate it together.
It's great. So, we talk a lot on this show about industries where recruiting is tough, and in today's economy, the labor pool is really tight. We talk about automotive retail, we talk about service-based businesses, restaurant businesses, lower paying jobs, more vocational based jobs, and how hard it is to find really, really good people. The concept that we believe in here and that I believe in is that if you think of your jobs as products and you market them like products, they have to be unique in the market so that the best consumers of those products, your job applicants, the very best want to buy your product versus the restaurant next door's product. What are you doing to sell this environment? Because it's true, it's exceptional and it's different. Do you feel like you're leveraging that to market your opportunities more effectively, or that you find that you get better people because perhaps you're known for running things the way you run them?
Well, I think that people are either attracted to the job and the description that I lay out, or they're not. So maybe that's in what you said.
That's exactly it. It's like, is the way I describe it. It's like a giant bar magnet, and it repels the wrong.
Yes.
And attracts the right.
Yes. Exactly. So can you restate the question?
Yeah, my question to you is: do you find success in you're selling a workplace environment? You're not selling a job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that has produced a better result than peer restaurants. I mean, do people ask you how you do it? I mean, the high retention rates. Yeah. That's the nirvana for hospitality business.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I reserve
never underestimate my capacity to overcomplicate the question.
Yes. And a very important person I heard is start with why, Simon Sinek.
Mm-hmm.
So I start with why. I tell people, why are we doing this? We're not just sweeping the floor. I had a girlfriend one time. I tried to have a girlfriend work with me one time, as many people have tried to do in the past, and it didn't work out. But she felt really bad about just pouring water in her boyfriend's restaurant. And that was her perception of it. She's just pouring water in her boyfriend's restaurant. And she was reluctant to do it. She didn't care. She had a bad look on her face. And if we just think of we're just pouring water in a restaurant, then it's not the right thing. But if we feel like we're feeding people's souls at the dinner table and they're here for an experience, and that really puts it into perspective.
Sure does.
That's what we're doing.
How long did she last in the restaurant?
In the restaurant? Probably a long weekend.
Okay. All right. Not long. Not long then. So what do you think is the biggest lesson you've learned so far, either through a particular event or experience, or just based on 23 years of being in a tough business, about the people side of your business?
Yes. That every business is a people business. Every business is a person, but there's a person at the other side of every desk, every phone call, everybody that walks in, and it's an opportunity to serve them or not. I went to what's it called? The hotel conference. It was a hotel conference at the Biltmore,
mm-hmm.
and I sat in a roundtable discussion of high-end hotels, and they all have the same problem: hiring.
Mm-hmm.
From the top of the line uber luxury glamping place to quick service, And one of the things that really stood out was do not give the guest a job. We're in the hospitality business. So what I feel like is...
What do you mean, do not give the guest a job? Tell me what that means.
Well, they used... the guests shouldn't have to move furniture in a hotel room to stay there. They shouldn't have to move furniture to plug their phone in. And in what I'm...
I know exactly what you're talking about, yes.
Don't give the guest a job. I mean, they hire us to do what they don't want to or don't know how to do. So I see it at the table. If I go to any restaurant, I expect the server that I'm going to pay to deliver my food and clear away my food. But if they want to give me a job by making me work by clearing the table for them, I expect half the pay.
Right? Sure.
So I don't want to have a job. I already have enough jobs. I want to be served.
Yep. Very good. So you say all businesses can learn from that.
I believe so, because why are people coming to this business in the first place? They're coming... Why do I go to hireology? Because A, I don't know how to hire, and Adam does. And you are the professional at doing this, and I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to learn something from you.
Sure. You're pretty good at this, though, P.S.
Well, I'm pretty good now, but I made... Those 19 years is not negligible of making hiring mistakes.
Sure. Very good. What's one thing you think you could get better at as it relates to the people side of the business you're running?
Yes. Staying up on the strategies of younger people's mentality.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because, I'm getting older. So I'm 53 now. When I opened my restaurant, I was 30. The world was a different place. And what I don't want to be is I don't want to be like my dad, stuck in like music of the 60s. You know what I mean? I want to be changing with the times in an appropriate way. But as the society changes, there's new things that can easily pass me by, and I want to stay fresh and open-minded, because people in their mid-20s now they have exceptional skills, and it's a different value system from mine in a way. But when we can meet, it's really magic.
Is there a particular moment or example you could share with us about where your traditional perception or approach has changed because you've had, a newer member of the workforce come change that perception?
Yes. In my cooking class, I teach a cooking class at a tavola on a Monday night, and it's a group of people that come, and there's always interesting people that come. And one of the it was a young woman, and her job was to teach millennial characteristics to mid-level managers.
Okay,
that was her job. And I asked her, what is the characteristics of millennials in the workforce, which everybody seems to want to know. And one of those points was they don't want to be bossed; they want to be mentored, and also they respect their time, because they saw their parents probably getting screwed by the company or something like that. So they're like, I'm 9 to 5. My life has an appropriate place. It's not just going to be a leaky boundary leaking over into my job, or I should be here. Or, they're like, it's 5 o'clock and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So I just tailored my job description around their value, which wasn't mine. Mine was, hey, you're here to work. Let's get here early. Let's stay late with no end time. But, I found myself very alone working like that.
Sure. Yeah. It's great though, Dan. You're talking about things that most business owners in retail and hospitality businesses struggle with. It's hours and shift management.
Yeah.
Why can't I get people to work more than 40 hours a week? And people lament the fact that it's not the way that they did it, and they can't understand it, but then you changed it, and it's made an impact. And it's great to hear that success story. That's just atypical from what I hear. People generally fight against it rather than embrace it. So well done, sir.
It was grow or go.
Grow or go, indeed. I have to ask you, as we wrap up our time, what is your favorite thing that you make and serve at your restaurant? What's your favorite thing?
The number one thing is gnocchi.
Mm-hmm.
I make gnocchi. So gnocchi is a potato dumpling. Italians eat as a pasta.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'll tell you the story of why I became that was I knew how to bake bread. So when I was in cooking school and worked in other restaurants, I understood how to handle dough. And when I was a chef of a restaurant in Italy, I took 3 or 4 traditional gnocchi recipes and I lightened them up and I made them for my taste and really Americans' taste. So that's how that came to be. And also when I opened my business, I realized when I didn't have a menu or a concept that I would have to do something that people couldn't get anywhere else. It's like when you go to a Chinatown restaurant, you see the menu, the same menu, number 6, next to the number 6 at the next place and the next place. There's no differentiation between restaurant or restaurant. Mine, I wanted to make every menu item unique and different that people couldn't get anywhere else. So if people wanted gnocchi, they had to come here. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be what my heroes in business do as well, is do something narrow and deep. And if people really want that, they have to come to you to get it.
That's great. Sage advice. You're a student constantly, right? You're
Yes,
a
lifelong
learner that I know. What book are you reading right now, and would you recommend it to our audience?
Yes. It just escaped my mind. Is it I didn't read it last night.
You take your time with it. We can...
It's oh yes. Yeah, I am reading it, and I have to say it's Reinventing Organizations. And
By whom?
By Frederick Laloux,
Uh-huh.
Laloux. So in addition to Adam Robinson and Hierology being
Free
being
plug.
truly, and I'm not just saying because I'm sitting in front of you, one of my business heroes, I have another business hero for Zach and Ryan at Punch Kick.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just can't get my mind around how they run their business organization. And when I heard Zach talking about the book Reinventing Organizations, I bought it and I'm devouring it. So we have characteristics of a teal corporation, a teal company.
What does that mean?
The teal is that's a color that they assign to non-traditional business organizations where there's a traditional hierarchy
Yep.
of authoritarian or a group conscious kind of business running module. It's a very, very different way, but I have to say that it resonates with me because I'm more like Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn. Who's the guy whitewashing the fence?
Yeah.
Make it really appealing to do, and then I slip away and
Right.
let them do the work.
Sure.
That was my philosophy all the way, and
The Mr. Miyagi approach.
Yes. So reinventing organizations is something that I truly strive to do as my business expands and becomes truly global, because it's decentralized. There's no me in the office telling people what to do, to lay out clear expectations and hold people accountable after I get the right people on the team.
Very good. Dan, that is the final word today. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been learning from Dan Bocik, founder and owner of tavola. When you are in Chicago, there is no better place to stop by. Check out their website and make yourself a reservation and enjoy one of the finest meals you can have. Dan, thank you for being with us on the program. That's a wrap today for this episode of the Best Team Wins podcast, where we're featuring entrepreneurs and business leaders whose exceptional approach to the people side of their business has led to incredible results. My name is Adam Robinson, author of the book The Best Team Wins, which you can find online at www.thebestteamwins.com. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. We will see you right here next week.
Thanks for listening to the Best Team Wins podcast with Adam Robinson. You can find out more information about Adam and his book, The Best Team Wins, Building Your Business Through Predictive Hiring, at thebestteamwins.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week.